In 2013, Nabors shocked the world. At 82 years old, he married his partner of 38 years. Fans had no idea he even existed. The wedding saved them $4.8 million in taxes, but it also opened old wounds. 7 years after Jim's death, his partner is finally sharing their story. The real reason they hid for 4 decades. The Hollywood scandal that destroyed Jim's friendship with Rock Hudson. The liver transplant that changed everything. What Stan reveals about their hidden life will change how you see Gomer Pyle forever. Jim Nabors was born on June 12, 1930 in a tiny town called Sylacauga, Alabama. Back then, only about 8,000 people lived there. His family shared a small 3-room house with his grandmother. It was the middle of the Great Depression, and life was hard. Unemployment in Alabama was above 25%, and many families barely scraped by. The Nabors family was no different. They struggled every day just to have enough to eat. Growing up in that world taught Jim to stay humble and strong, lessons that stayed with him for the rest of his life. As if poverty wasn't enough, Jim also battled severe asthma. In the 1930s and 1940s, asthma treatments weren't like today. He would often be stuck in bed, struggling to breathe. Sports were out of the question, which was tough for a boy growing up in the South. But instead of giving in to loneliness, Jim turned to music. He started singing to pass the time, and soon it became his passion. What felt like a curse, the asthma, ended up pushing him toward the path that would make him famous. His mother, Mavis, worked long hours at a truck stop, waiting tables for whatever tips she could get. His father, Fred, took any job he could find. Eventually, Fred became the town's police officer. It wasn't a high-paying job, but it brought some stability. To help put food on the table, they raised chickens in the yard for eggs and meat. The family's hard work and cleverness helped them get by, and Jim grew up seeing what it meant to work for every little bit. In high school, Jim's hidden gift came out. He joined the glee club and sang in the church choir. Nobody expected the quiet, asthmatic boy to have such a big, rich voice. But when Jim sang, it shocked everyone. His baritone was so powerful that teachers and choir directors gave him solos. His voice became the highlight of local events, and it gave him a new kind of confidence that would guide him through life. After high school, Jim went to the University of Alabama to study business. He was trying to choose the safe path. But in college, something changed. He joined Delta Tau, Delta fraternity, and that's where he first tried acting. He performed in their skits and shows, and people noticed. Jim was funny, natural, and at ease on stage. Even though he was focused on business classes, he found himself drawn to performing. His time in college showed that he wasn't just smart. He had talent and charm, too. When he graduated, Jim needed work. He moved to New York City and became a typist at the United Nations. It was a far cry from the stage. He typed up reports in a big cold office, feeling lonely and far from home. The city's dirty air made his asthma worse. He dreamed of being part of the entertainment world, but for now he was just trying to make ends meet. His health forced him to leave New York. Jim moved to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and got a job at a local TV station, WRGP-TV. He worked as a film cutter, slicing together news clips and ads. It wasn't glamorous, but it taught him how TV worked behind the scenes. Late at night, he'd practice his routines in the empty studio, pretending the chairs were an audience. In the late 1950s, his asthma pushed him west. He packed up and went to Los Angeles. There he worked as a film cutter for NBC. During the day, at night, he performed in small clubs. He barely slept and lived on peanut butter sandwiches. But he kept going, convinced that if he worked hard enough, someone would notice him. At the Horn, a small nightclub in Santa Monica, Jim created the act that would change his life. He played a shy, clumsy country boy who'd stumble onto the stage and then surprise everyone with a booming operatic voice. The crowd loved the mix of comedy and incredible singing. His shows became so popular that producers started showing up to see what all the fuss was about. One night in 1962, comedian Bill Dana saw Jim perform. Bill was so impressed that he got Jim a spot on the Steve Allen Show. Jim did his hillbilly routine and then wowed the audience with his voice. The reaction was huge. Suddenly, Jim was getting calls from agents and producers. After all those years of struggle, his moment had finally come. One night, Andy Griffith came to the club. He watched Nabors perform and was amazed. He offered him a one-time role on the Andy Griffith Show. Nabors would play Gomer Pyle, a sweet but dim gas station attendant. What was supposed to be a single appearance changed everything. Nabors' charm won over everyone. The producers knew right away they had found something special. That chance meeting in a small club changed Nabors' life forever. It also changed American comedy. When Gomer Pyle first appeared on TV in 1962, people couldn't get enough of him. His catchphrases Gowie and Shazam became hits almost overnight. His wide-eyed look and thick southern draw made these words unforgettable. Kids started saying go on playgrounds. Grown-ups used it at work. Even politicians couldn't resist. These funny phrases spread everywhere. They showed up in comic strips. They were used in ads. They even inspired toys and shirts. The words were fun and harmless. They didn't mention God or magic directly, which was important for TV. Back then, Gomer's simple joy touched people during a time when the country was changing fast. His words felt safe and full of wonder. The character of Gomer became so popular that CBS had no choice. Within just months of his first appearance, Gomer was added as a regular on the Andy Griffith Show. Fans sent in letters by the hundreds asking for more Gomer. People loved his kindness, his funny ways, and the way he balanced out Andy's serious sheriff character. Soon, Gomer's stories became some of the most loved parts of the show. He even started to steal the spotlight from other characters. Nabors' rise from guest star to regular was rare. It showed just how much people connected with Gomer's goodness and humor. Gomer's success didn't stop there. In 1964, CBS made a bold move. They gave him his own show.